Hi everyone, welcome back to JJ Negron TV. So, I know I'm a little late to the party here, but I have just seen episode 4 of Marvel's What If series, entitled, What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart Instead of His Hands? I have to say I was pretty blown away by this episode, especially because I didn't really care much for the first 3 episodes. I honestly don't have much to say about them, except for the fact that, aside from a few interesting moments, I found them to be overall pretty lackluster. Episode 4, however, is quite a different story. After initially having lost interest in the series, something compelled me to give this episode a shot, and I'm so glad that I did. Not only is it better than the first 3 episodes, but it's some of the strongest content that Marvel has ever produced. The animation was dazzling, the action was spectacular, and most importantly, the story and the characters were absolutely riveting to say the least. Episode 4 of What If is a tragic story of a doomed romance, and a man that would stop at nothing to change his fate, even if it means destroying the entire world. The ending of this episode left me heartbroken, but I was also amazed that Marvel was actually brave enough to end the show the way that they did. If you thought the ending to Infinity War was a downer, just wait until you watch this episode. So the episode starts off with Stephen Strange's fatal car crash that you might remember from the movie Doctor Strange. Everything seems pretty similar to the way it was in the movie, only this time, instead of being in the car alone, he is in the car with his love interest, Christine Palmer. As the two of them begin flirting, we get a bit of insight into their relationship. Suddenly, the crash happens and Christine is killed. As you might expect, this causes Stephen Strange to fall into a deep depression, as he searches the world for answers, eventually discovering the Ancient One, the same way he did in the film. Strange's training seems pretty much the same as it was in the movie, but he is still haunted by the memory of Christine. Using the Eye of Agamotto, he desperately tries to go back in time and change the moment of her death, but it is no use. No matter what the scenario is, Christine always ends up being killed at that exact moment in time, whether it's by a car, or an illness, or an armed robbery. Strange is driven to the brink of insanity by his inability to stop Christine from dying. It is at this moment that the Ancient One tells Strange that Christine's death is an absolute point, meaning something that is a fixed point in history that cannot be changed. Doing so would create a paradox that would end the universe as we know it. Even the strongest sorcerers in history could not figure out how to undo an absolute point. Stephen Strange concludes that there is only one thing that could bring back Christine: more power. As you might be able to guess, things go downhill from here, as Strange becomes more and more corrupt, to the point where the Ancient One creates a split in the universe in order to warn the good Strange about the evil Strange. The show ends in an epic showdown between the two Stranges until finally, the evil Strange gets exactly what he wants, and the universe as we know it comes to an end. So yeah, pretty depressing stuff. It is ultimately Strange's inability to let go of the past and move forward that destroys not only himself, but his entire universe. There are times in our lives when we become obsessed with the past for whatever reason. Maybe you were wronged in some way, and you still feel angry about it. Maybe you hurt someone and you still feel shame or guilt about it. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you feel a strong sense of nostalgia because of how good and beautiful life used to be, compared to how things are now. The point is, focusing on the past is almost never productive or healthy, unless you are using it to your benefit. For example, you could use events from the past to help shape your behavior in the present and the future. You learn from past behavior in order to help you become a better person. This is what the original Doctor Strange did in the movie. He learned to stifle his own ego and become the hero he was born to be. This version of Strange, however, did the exact opposite. He was consumed by his grief to the point where he spent every waking moment trying to undo something that cannot be undone. In the end, the grief not only consumed him, but the world around him. He couldn't let go of Christine. He couldn't live in a world without her. Instead of accepting her death and using the experience to become a better person, his ego takes over, and he tries to erase the event altogether. As a matter of fact, his arc is strikingly similar to the Mandarin's arc in Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. And anyway, the ending to the show is bleak, but it shows what can happen if we don't bear the burden of what we are given in this life. In the end, we must all carry our own crosses. But who knows? This is Marvel, so perhaps we will meet this version of Strange once again, and maybe, just maybe, there is still hope for him yet. Anyway guys, that's it for now. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.